Hi, I'm JINGRUI. Let's exploring the intentions of Malaysia college students on food waste. This study focuses on the research of food waste intention among Malaysian university students with the popularization of education and the continuous changes in campus consumption structure. The improvement of living conditions has led to an increasing amount of food waste caused by students there. Against the backdrop of the continuous rise of food waste, exploring the factors that affect the intention of university students to waste food is crucial for achieving sustainable campus food behavior. This study is based on the thorough of planned behavior and aims to explore well-perceived health risks, subjective norm, perceived control feeling of guilt affect Malaysia college students' intention to food waste. And we can know the background studying with the possibility of the times and the continuous acceleration of the pace of life. The problem of food waste is very serious worldwide, especially among young people receiving higher education, and Malaysia's food waste is very serious with over 16,000 tons of food wasted every day, of which 4,000 tons are still edible. The waste of food not only means the loss of food itself, but also the waste of resources such as water, energy, land, and poses a threat to the climate. I think through this study we can cultivate a rational consumption awareness while supporting the country's sustainable development goals. With the convenience of catering consumption and the continuous changes in people's dining habits, food waste has become increasingly serious through various self-service restaurant delivery platforms and delivery service. And we can know typical food waste is mainly composed of organic matter with high moisture content, which is highly prone to decay and decomposition. At the same time, they can cause secondary pollution during the decomposition process. So the problem of food waste is already very serious. As a major consumer group, college students inevitably experience food waste in their daily lives. Therefore, in order to understand this phenomenon, we will conduct in-depth research on the factors that affect a college students' intention to waste food, with a focus on analyzing the impact of variables such as perceived health risks and subjective norms, perceived control, and the feeling of guilt on food waste. In research objectives, the first, analyze wider college students' perception of food safety affects their intention to waste food. The second is studying how social behavior from friends and family affects college students' food wasting intentions. The third, while college students choose not to waste food because they are worried about being judged by others. The fourth, evaluate whether college students believe they can effectively avoid food waste. The fifth is analyzing why the college students' intention to reduce food waste can lead to frugal behavior in the future. And in research questions, the first is, do college students feel guilty when they realize they are wasting money? The second, how capable do college students think they are to avoid waste during the meal process? The third, do college students consider food waste to be a negative behavior? The fourth, has the lack of storage equipment in dormitory reduced the likelihood of college students engaging in frugal behavior? The fifth is, do college students feel uneasy when they see others wasting food? And in the hypothesis, we think perceived health risk will have positive effects on the food waste intention. The subjective norms will have negative effects on the food waste intention. The perceived control will have negative effects on the food waste intention. The feeling of guilt will have negative effects on the food waste intention. And in methodology, the study is conducted in a cross-sectional form, and all data is collected from the entire studying population at a single time point. The cross-sectional study includes collecting and analyzing data from multiple variables at specific time points. The data collection work in this study took 6 weeks to complete. The unit of analysis is Malaysian college students. Minimum sample size of 112 respondents. The population including all categories of Malaysian university students. The data collection method is a survey by questionnaires distributed and collected from respondents with 6 weeks time free. This research used online data collection to obtain research data. The survey is conducted through Google Forms and released through WhatsApp, Telegram, and other social media platforms. Due to the extensive coverage of the Internet, the questionnaire is more likely to be adopted by a large number of respondents. Online survey becomes a better data collection method. And in summary of hypotheses, we can say from data, the perceived health risk are not supported, and the subjective norm are supported, and the perceived control are not supported, and the feeling of guilt are supported. And in discussion, this study explores the impact of perceived health risks, subjective norms, perceived control, and feeling of guilt on food waste intentions among Malaysia university students. The results showed that subjective norms and feeling of guilt have a significant impact on food waste intentions, indicate that the opinions and social pressures of others, as well as moral emotions arising from food waste, can change waste behavior. However, perceived health risks and perceived control didn't show significant effects, indicating that although people are aware of the health problems that waste may bring and believe they have the ability to control waste, these factors are not enough to drive their behavior intentions to change. Therefore, intervention to reduce food waste should focus more on social impacts and emotional incentives. And in conclusion, we analyzed the intention of Malaysia university students to waste food. A total of 112 valid questionnaire data were collected through Google Forms, which showed support for subjective no and feeling of guilt, but not support for perceived health risk and perceived control. This indicates that some variables cannot support the hypothesis of expected food waste intention. In future research, we should actively correct the current limitation and improve our studying by understanding the relevant information of university students' food waste intention. Thank you for watching.